my stamping friends. It's Christine Ludwig from Christine's Stamping Spot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Albert, Alberta. And welcome to my first Mystery Monday video of March. Happy March. It is definitely coming in like a lion here. I think that's how it goes. It has been snowing for most of the weekend, and I think still supposed to get flurries this coming week. So we are just itching for spring here, absolutely. So I thought I would give you a little sneak peek of some of our March online exclusives that are going to be released tomorrow for everyone. And I kind of fell in love with this little jam sort of bundle or suite of products, I think it is actually. So Filled with Sweetness is the name of it. So you have this really cute jam jar, even with a lid, some really cute greetings in here, a couple of berries, and then these fantastic dies. So they are really a lot of them in this set that cut out various images, various little frames for greetings, and that sort of thing. So this is the actual die that cuts out the jar. So you could actually make like a card that folds, because here is your score line in the center, so you can make your card base an actual jam jar, right? So that is really cute, and we are going to use this in our project today. And the suite also comes with some really great designer paper. So this is called the Homemade Sweetness Designer Series paper, and I'm just going to pull out some of these patterns here so you can see them. So you get 12 sheets. I'm going to show you the neutral side first. Okay, so this is one. Kind of, what are the colors in here? We have Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight. That's what this is, I think. Secret Sea and Strawberry Slush. How appropriate for a jam set, right? Okay, and here is another one. Kind of like if you were to write out a recipe for jams to share or attach it to your jar. I think that's really cute. And then what do we have? We have this one, which is sort of a checkered pattern with a strawberry slush happening in there. We have this really cute ladybug. See these tiny little ladybugs in here with these flowers? So that's sweet. And you have this one, which has a lot of little hearts. So that's really adorable. And then another one that is similar to that Misty Moonlight, some strawberry slush happening there. I think that is the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct. Okay, so this is the reverse pattern then. You have these cute jam jars and honey jars here, which are adorable. The spoons, because jam jars usually have a little spoon. This really lovely gingham. And then you have some little florals here, some posies, some other jam jars, which are a little bit smaller. So marmalade and blueberry jam, mixed berry jam. Oh my gosh, I'm getting hungry just looking at that. And then this with some assorted fruits on it. So really cute for spring and summer. Really cute if you are someone that does make jam and likes to gift it to people. So I think this is just a really fun set. Okay, so the project we're going to make today is this one. This was inspired by Susan Campfield, who's a demo in the States, and she was inspired by another demonstrator, and I'm sorry I didn't catch her name. So Sue shared the idea that she got from another demonstrator. So this is Sue's sample, which I cased because I wanted just to do it like she did. And the surprise is you have a little pop-up piece here. Isn't that adorable? You're the sweetest, which is one of the greetings. And that pops down, and then you could still write another greeting inside. Okay, so I know people are probably thinking, well, would the recipient actually pull on this spoon handle? I think some would. They think, well, what is this? What does this do? I think they might be tempted to pull that up, but you could always put a little note, a PS, you know, pull out the spoon for a little surprise, and then you could pop this out, or they could pop that out. I thought that was just really sweet. Okay, so I'm going to switch up the colors a teeny bit. Susan used Strawberry Slush as her card base, which is so appropriate, right? But I didn't have the Strawberry Slush ink. For some reason, I do not have the ink in the blends. So I know Strawberry Slush was a previous color that we used to have, and I might still have my ink pad somewhere, but they didn't make blends, I don't think, back then, so I would have to get some of those. Anyhow, I switched up the colors, and I am going to do my jar out of Poppy Parade. Okay, so let's start with our card base. I will post all these measurements on the post. So we have our usual 8.5 by 5.5 of basic white. So let's just fold that and set that aside. And then I'm going to put, well, maybe I'll do this right away. I'm going to put on a little layer of the Poppy Parade. Okay, Sue did hers white on white, but I thought let's try this with just a hint of color popping through the outside. So we're going to put this on our base, and it's just going to leave a little bit of that white border all around. Okay, and then we are going to put a really new fun emboss layer on it. This, my friends, is also part of the suite, and it's a new embossing folder, the Ladybug Picnic 3D embossing folder. Like, how stinking cute is this? You've got all these little ladybugs in here with some little posy flowers, and what's really fun is look at how these ladybugs and some of the berries just pop up so much. Like, you just want to go out and touch them, right? All these little ladybugs. I just think this is really sweet. And this, I'm thinking, would also be a cute one to use on the Cute as a Bug suite of products that we have in our mini catalog. I think that would be adorable because we have those really cute ladybug embellishments, right? So I think that would all come together really, really well. Okay. So let's put our Ladybug embossing folder here. So you see there's just that tiny hint of that Poppy Parade coming out. So we're going to see how this all comes together and which one we might prefer. Okay, so let's bring out the jar. So for the jar, like I showed you that die. Okay, so this is the large die that you're going to use. So I stamped the image on Memento Black on the Poppy Parade, and then I just needed to cut it out with one side of this of this die. Okay, so it's just going to cut out the jar itself. And when it came out, it leaves this little score line here, right? Because you have the score line in the center if you did want to make this a full card. So all you're going to do is trim off this little edge, which is easy enough to do because it has this score line. So you can just use scissors, or you can put it in your paper trimmer, and you're just going to cut off that little edge. Oh, a score line here. There we go. Okay. Okay, and there is our jar. All right, so I've used Poppy Parade. Susan used Strawberry Slush. All right, so now let me maybe do our little pull greeting here, okay? So for that, I have a piece of basic white and a piece of the Poppy Parade, which I'm going to stamp on first, and I'm going to color in my little strawberry. So in this set, you have two little images. You've got the blueberries and the strawberry. Okay, so let us stamp that and our greetings. So from the stamp set, I'm going to use the You're the Sweetest. You could do Homemade for You. That would be cute as well. So I'm going to pull out my Poppy Parade ink, and we're going to just stamp that greeting on here. Okay, maybe I'll use my foam pad because I'm using a photopolymer stamp set. Okay, it just gives it a little more cushion. So let's do You're the Sweetest. And then we're going to add our strawberry, which we are going to stamp in our black memento. And you can do it wherever you like. Maybe I'll just do mine right here in the middle. This time, switch it up a little bit, and then we just have to color in our little strawberry with our blends. So I'm going to start with the stem. So I'm going to use the light and dark Granny Apple Green. Okay, oh, is this my light? It's squeaking, and that's how I know. No, it says dark, so maybe this one is starting to dry out a little bit too. That's usually a sign for me, is when I hear them sort of start to squeak. But you do have two ends on your blends, right? So if one is a little bit drier than the other, you can always use the other end. Okay, so this is my light. So we're just gonna do that on the edges here. Yeah, this one is definitely squeaking, but it still works. So I'm gonna get out as much of it as I can. Okay, you might just have to go over it a little bit. Okay, so we'll leave that as our stem. And then I pulled out my dark Poppy Parade. You could use the lighter one, I suppose, but I'll just use the dark one. Or you could use both, right? You can always use both. Okay, this doesn't take too long. Or if you wanted to add more berries, you know, you can always do that too. I'll just do one. Really fun set. Do any of you make your own preserves in the summertime? Do you have beautiful gardens that produce a lot of berries, or do you have markets where you can buy them? Or I know a lot of places have the You Pick farms, which are fun. That's kind of a fun girls thing to do. Just spend a couple of hours picking berries. That's always a fun thing to do. Okay, so there is my little pull tab. Okay, so now what we have to figure out is, first of all, where we are going to put our spoon handle. Is that not adorable? That is also in the dies here. So it is right here. And so I cut that out of the silver foil. You could also maybe cut it out of like a crumb cake or something to make it look like a bamboo or some sort of a wooden spoon. So we want this to be behind here, but the trick is going to be where on the back. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. Oh, I got a little bit of ink there. So let me try to get rid of that before I get that all over my white. Okay, because our blends always bleed through, right? So just beware of that. Okay, so actually, you know what? The first thing I think I'll do to make this a little easier is I'm going to decorate a little bit on this jar. So I pulled out, if you can see here, this is from that designer paper. Okay, this is that blue gingham pattern, which is adorable. And you see all these little impressions that the die makes on the cover or on the top of it, which is awesome. So for this one, I thought, let's switch it up, and I cut out the berries. Okay, so this is just gonna go right on top of your jar. So let's do that. And we're just going to put this right on top, covering that top edge and sort of centering. Okay, I might have got a little bit more on this side. We might have to trim some of this off after because it's not quite as far on that side, and it might hang over our card, but that's okay. We'll worry about that then. All right, and then we have really super cute dies to do our little string. Okay, so you know how sometimes we always tie a little bit of twine or some sort of string on top of our jar. Makes it look really rustic, I think, you know, or even raffia ribbon, if any of you have ever heard or used that. So this is just cut out of the white cardstock. We have the dies to cut these out, and I did put an adhesive sheet on these because I thought, how in the world am I ever going to get liquid glue on there? A lot of you are much better with that than I am, so please use whatever your preference is. And then we're just going to lay this on top of that designer paper, and it should line up, okay, like so. I might have a little teeny bit sticking out over the edge. It's just because there, okay, and then we can put our little ribbon on top. So pull that sheet off and we'll add the ribbon right here. Okay, so how cute is that? Oh, I love it. Okay, we'll do the label after, but I did want to get this topper on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put some mini dimensionals all along the very edge of the jar. Well, not all along, but I'm going to put one here, and we'll see if that one is okay. And this one we'll put right at the end, right at the edge, and this one. And I'll do one more down here in the corner. And then I'll do one over here. And then we'll just go down the other side. So we'll put minis on this edge. And then we will play around with our spoon. And then we're going to put some larger dimensionals along here because that will be a little bit of a stopper for this little greeting, right? Okay, so I'm just going to play with this for a second and pretend that my spoon is about like so. Okay, I want to put it between those two layers. And if I was to put this upside down at the top of my jar, okay, let's just, let's just pretend this is at the top of the jar. Oh my goodness, too many loose pieces here. Okay, let's try this again. So you're gonna just try to get an eyeball of about where you want this handle to go, because you don't want it to go above your card base, right, when it's inside. And then you can adjust the height of your handle. So let's say this was at the very top, worst case, you know, If you put this on, it would still be sticking up a teeny bit because this jar is really quite large. So I'm going to just push this down a bit. Okay. And then I'm going to just hold this in my hand and press down about here. And then I'm just going to put some adhesive here to hold my spoon, okay? So I'm going to put it down about like so, okay? And then this can go on top. So we'll sort of sandwich that spoon in between the layers. Okay, so let's push this around. Okay. And this is going to remain, oops, that's my base. Here's my jar, here we are. So this is going to stay loose because we have to pull it in and out. You just want to make sure that the dimension, okay, this guy might be a little bit too close here. So I'm just going to stick him on the edge. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals just down here. Okay, I think that'll work. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals down here at the bottom, and they are going to, well, even these side ones might act as a bit of a stop. Oh, no, it does go down. You could always trim this piece a teeny bit, make it a little less wide if you wanted. So I'm going to grab my larger dimensionals, and I'm just going to put about 3 of them here at the bottom. Okay, this is just probably the trickiest part, but you can certainly just play around with it and you'll get it to work for you. Even if it slides down a little bit more, that's okay. Okay, so let's pull that out for a sec, and we're gonna take off all of these backers. Oh. And then we'll put this on our base and try our pull-out tab there and see how it goes. Now I might be able to stick another little one in here. I'm going to try anyway. And we'll see. I kind of like the security of that on the corner of the jar. Oh, all these little pieces now. Okay, so let's bring back our base. Make sure I have it opening the right direction. And I'm going to put this a little bit more towards the bottom, just to give me a little bit of extra space for that spoon. And now this does go over a teeny bit, because I should have lined it up a little bit more on the left of the jar, but that should be all right. And then we'll put our, it fits, and even with the spoon, it does have room to go down a little bit. Okay, and then you can pull it up. You're the sweetest. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Oh, I love it. So cute, such a cute surprise, right? All right, so this was the one from Sue's card, so let's just put that back so I don't get mixed up. And then we can decorate our label here. All right, so I love this label. Oh, this didn't cut out quite right. I'm gonna have to cut out another one. It got cut off there. Hang on one second, guys. I'm just gonna put another one. I don't know what happened there. 1 second. I didn't notice that at first. Just gonna run it through the Big Shot really quick. Okay, here we go. That's how it's supposed to look. For some reason, this edge got cut off, so I apologize. Okay, so this is, I love this because it's like a label, but you have this little greeting piece here which is awesome. Now there are a couple of other labels in the dies. So you have this one here and this one here that you can use, or even this one that you can use to stamp a greeting or whatever you like. So like Sue's card, I'm just going to put some of these berries on the front. Okay, so this, because our jar is already popped up, I think I'm just going to put our label down flat. Oh my gosh, these minis showing up everywhere. Do you guys find that? They end up all over your workspace, or more so on your floor, right? Okay, so let's put our greeting just on the bottom of our jar, like so. And then I did pre-do 2 of the berries and cut them out, okay? Now, I did the same berry that I had stamped on the inside, okay? And I just cut it out with a die, because there is a die to cut those out. And then the blueberries, same thing. I stamped them both in Memento and colored them in. So this, you think I might have used Blueberry Bushel. And I did try it, but I didn't like how you couldn't really see the stem. All right, it was just, like I don't know. There was something about it that was a little off. But it is definitely a good alternative you can do. But these stems, I wanted the darker part to show a bit better. So like on Sue's card, I used the Misty Moonlight. Okay, so the light for the berries, and then I think you can see the darker stem right there. Okay, so let's add these with some dimensionals. And we will just pop these up on our label. Okay, so I'll put strawberry here and our blueberries. Oops. Okay, so let's do that. Put our blueberries maybe over here. And the last thing is we're going to add some of these adorable embellishments. These are also part of the new suite called Strawberries and Dots, and they are foam little embellishments, okay? So you've got the little strawberry slush dots, the blueberry dots, and these actual little strawberries here. So I thought those were super cute. So let's add a strawberry, because we have strawberry on there, and we'll add a blueberry. Okay, there's big ones or there's little ones. So let's, we'll do a little one maybe. This one I did a big one, but we'll just do a little one there. And that is your card. So how do you like that? I think that is super cute. And then you can always write your greeting inside. So I don't know, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the little bit of color popping out on the base, or do you prefer the white on the white? I like them both. This just kind of ties it maybe a little bit more together. And you could use any of that designer paper for the lid toppers there too. And then you have this cute little surprise that pops up right out of there. All right, friends, that is a sneak peek of our new March online exclusives, which go live tomorrow, March the 3rd. So I hope you'll check them out. And there's lots of new products that are coming, which I think you're going to love. So I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.